Matter is placed. माननीय मंत्री जी, आइटम नंबर 14C, माननीय मंत्री डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी.
Speaker sir, with your kind permission, I rise to move for leave to introduce the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill 2025. Thank you, Speaker sir.
Thank you, sir. माननीय श्री बी बेहानंद जी. माननीय श्री मनीष तिवारी जी.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, sir. I rise to oppose the introduction of the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill 2025 under Rule 72(1) of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Lok Sabha on the following grounds. First, the bill confers sweeping and pervasive powers on the central government across licensing, regulation, acquisition, tariff fixation, exemptions, emergency powers, and even novation of private contracts. Clauses empowering the centre to acquire mines, plants, reactors, substances, and contractual rights by executive action, while compensation determined largely by the government itself raises grave concerns under Article 300A of the Constitution of India and the guarantee against arbitrary deprivation of property. Second, permitting profit-seeking private participation in ultra-hazardous nuclear activities while simultaneously limiting liability, granting statutory immunities, and restricting judicial remedies undermines the state's non-delegable public trust obligations over life, health, and the environment. Such an arrangement amounts to an unconstitutional abdication of essential sovereign responsibilities and functions under Article 21 and 48A, where the state is required to act as a trustee and a guarantor and not merely as a facilitator or a licensor. Third, the bill suffers from excessive delegation of essential legislative functions. Core policy matters such as liability limits, safety standards, exemptions, regulatory norms, emergency measures, and even amendment of schedules are left to rules, regulations, or notifications issued by the executive. This abdication of parliamentary responsibility violates settled constitutional limits on delegated legislation under Article 245 and 246. And finally, Mr. Chairperson, sir, the bill concentrates legislative, executive, regulatory, and quasi-judicial powers in the central government and authorities appointed, controlled, and removable by it, including the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, which needs to be an independent, autonomous statutory regulator. The absence of institutional independence, coupled with wide direction issuing powers and insulation clauses, undermines the doctrine of separation of powers, which is a basic feature of the Constitution. On these grounds, I strongly oppose the introduction of this bill.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Minister, sir.
No, Manish ji is a good friend, his points well taken, but I just want to mention that most of these objections are based on the merits of the bill, which are normally and by convention taken up during the discussion. So right now we are here only to the competency of the introduction of the bill.
माननीय श्री बेहानंद जी. माननीय श्री बेहानंद जी.
He is not speaking. Hold on, N.K. Premchandran.
माननीय श्री N.K. प्रेमचंद्रन जी.
Sir, opposition of the bill and on legislative competence.
प्रेमचंद्रन जी.
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, by Rule 72(2) of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in Lok Sabha, I do oppose the bill, the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill 2025. So my point is, it is against the principles, against the directive principles of the state policy in Part 4 of the Constitution of India. because the entire purpose of this bill, promoting this bill, we are having the Atomic Energy Act, and also we are having all these legal mechanisms are also there. And you see that the nuclear energy as well as rare earth minerals and mining and mineral separation and the nuclear section, everything is being vested with the public sector undertakings. The basic purpose by which this law is being brought in is so as to privatize this nuclear energy sector for the private companies. I am not mentioning any companies. I am from an area, from the minerals, beach and mineral area, by which we are having abundant thorium is there, supply is there, but unfortunately it is not being exploited and utilized by the government public sector undertakings so as to make use by the private entities and the private corporates for which this bill is being brought in. So it is against the directive principles of state policy. Therefore, I strongly oppose the introduction of the bill on the basis of this objection. Thank you very much, sir.
Shri Professor Saugat Rai ji.
I oppose this bill with a long name, sustainable harnessing of etc. etc. Now, this bill is being a watershed in the history of development of nuclear power in the country. You know, the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister, he set up the Atomic Energy Commission. The Atomic Energy Commission made significant progress in harnessing atomic energy. We had our first nuclear power plant in Tarapur. India undertook 2 nuclear implosions, whatever you call it. First at Pokhran in '74, then under Atal Bihari Vajpayee, again in Pokhran in 1998. So nuclear energy has been a matter which has exercised
Kindly be seated, please.
lot of
Excuse me.
importance to the people. Remember, sir, in 2000,
Mananiya Sanjay Jaiswal ji.
during Manmohan Singh's prime ministership, there was a big dispute in the country over nuclear liability bill should be introduced. Manmohan Singh's purpose was to get nuclear energy technical know-how from America and other countries. Now this is a new step where slowly the nuclear energy sector is sought to be given over to private sector. The government has been talking about this for some time, and now we have the Adani's big in power sector. Now they want to get into nuclear power sector, and this bill is meant to facilitate Adani and other people.
1 second, sir. I heard you, sir.
This is a basic
Mananiya Mantri Shri Kiran Rijiju ji.
Since honorable members are repeatedly raising the opposition, opposing the introduction of the bill, today we are not passing the bill. There is no proposed for consideration. It is only introduction of the bill. And most of the oppositions are coming, which are repeatedly being mentioned by honorable member, including what Manish Tiwari has mentioned. I have a specific point only. Under Rule 72(1), it is very specific on the legislative competence of this House to bring this legislation. Yes. And under Schedule 7 of the Constitution, in the list of union list at serial number 6, it is very specific. Atomic energy and mineral resources necessary for its production. Yes. So this House has very much have its full legislative competence to bring this bill. And as the Honourable Minister has stated, if there are consideration on merits, it should be brought out at the time of consideration. At this point of time, it is only introduction of the bill. So that will come back. Today we are not putting it for consideration.
Sir, if we assume that it is not in the competence of the House to bring, even if it is assumed that it is not in the competence of the House to bring in a bill related to nuclear energy or atomic energy, may I remind the honourable members and the House that the same House brought the Atomic Energy Act 1962 when Pandit ji was the Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and the same House brought the CLND bill when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. So, if the bill could be brought in the House when Nehru ji was the Prime Minister, when it could be brought when when Dr. Manmohan Singh ji was the Prime Minister. Why now suddenly, because there is a different political party in power, suddenly the House has been forbidden from the prerogative of bringing in a bill on this subject?
Yes, sir. I heard both the sides. प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक को पुनः स्थापित करने के अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में है वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के हुआ, पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को पुनः स्थापित
Sir, I introduce the bill.
आइटम नंबर 16 अनुदानों की अनुपूरक मांगे